Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for semi-final number 2 of Super Rugby Pacific. The Chiefs taking on the Brumbies for a spot in the final up against the Crusaders. Now, it has been confirmed that that game will be taking place in Christchurch, so whoever wins this game, I assume will be heading on a plane relatively soon. The Aussies may have to delay the trip back to Australia if they can cause the upset here, or if the Chiefs are victorious, of course, due to that loss up against the Blues last week, it means that they have lost their home final. Looking through at the comments, we have got a lot of people going for the Chiefs by the looks of it, although a few going for the Brumbies too, including just the one at this point. I know, a lawyer's also going for the Brumbies there as well. But looking through at the starting lineup for the Chiefs, a welcome return in that number 12 jersey of Quinn Tupaia. He partners with Daniel Rona as that midfield combo. In terms of the forward pack, it will be Ollie Norris as the number 1, Simasoni Taukei'aho at 2, and George Dyer slotting in as the number 3, Naitoa Akoi and Tupou Vai, a very handy combination at lock for the Chiefs. And I do think that line-out time will be so important for this Chiefs outfit. We know that the Brumbies love a rolling maul. They'll be looking at it multiple times throughout this game. Billy Pollard, I believe, will be an extremely busy man, but it's whether or not Tupou Vai or Naitoa Akoi can get 1 or 2 steals when it comes to those line-outs to be able to stop that rolling maul. They've just shown there the stat that they have scored 49 tries from rolling mauls in the competition. Or from a line-out, in the competition. So not just the maul, but a lot of the time they find a way of creating a chance off a line-out. I believe that is what they will be chasing throughout this game as well. In the back three, it is Samipeni Finau alongside Luke Jacobson and Wallace Satiti. So the return of Jacobson also in that 4-pack. For the Chiefs, Cortez Aratama and Damien McKenzie will be the 19 combination. We've already mentioned their midfield pairing, Leroy Carter, Imoni Narawa and Sean Stevenson at number 15. In terms of this Brumbies side, it is James Slipper, Billy Pollard and Alan Alatoa. He's been on a bit of a try-scoring rampage lately. He actually has 4 from the last 5 games that we've seen Alatoa be able to cross the try line. Nick Frost alongside Tom Hooper in the locking duo with Rob Ballatini, Rory Scott and also Tui Lima as the number 8. In terms of the backline, it is Ryan Lonergan alongside Noel Alessio, Philly Wai alongside Lena Kitau, who could also be quite the key for the Brumbies in this game, Corey Toole, Andy Muirhead, and Tom Wright at number 15. So we will see quite a bit of the Brumbies, I believe, kicking from the back, including Tom Wright and Noel Alessio, just trying to force the Chiefs deep inside of their own half, see if they can create the errors there. FMG and Hamilton says Novbum for what stadium this game has taken place at. And we have got there Rona indeed, corner first pie, says Christopher. Or in the corner, sorry, I should say, from Christopher there. And also we have got there, who do you think is going to win tonight? Says Mohadin. Well, the Chiefs are favourites, but the Brumbies, they are more than capable of getting themselves a victory here. Like, they have caused away wins. We saw them do it up against the Blues earlier on in the season, where they got themselves their first win on New Zealand soil at Eden Park in about 20 years. So this side, when they play well, can be a real problem. But it looks like maybe they've actually dropped a little bit more as an underdog, sitting $5 compared to the Chiefs, who are heavy favourites. But we have got Come On the Chiefs from a Blue supporter in Namibia, says Vincent there. And greetings from Orania, Hamish, says Gerhard. And any Kiwi winning is good for the ABs, says Heaney there. And also, this will be the last ever game in Hamilton for the shooter. So I assume you're talking about Sean Stevenson in that regard. At this point, it's his last game, of course, heading to Japan. There's no guarantee that he won't be coming back to Hamilton in the after period of his contract. But just for now, Sean Stevenson, of course, one of the many players, will be heading overseas up the Brumbies. Says Aloy, and greetings all night. Or sorry, greetings all. Sorry, I got the call wrong last night as a Blue. Have a great night all, says Alan there too. And Come On the Chiefs, says Royden. So it does seem like there is quite a heavy amount of support for the Chiefs in this matchup, although the Brumbies, I think everyone is well aware that this side can cause problems when they get it right. Looking through at the benches for these two teams, Brody McAllister, Jarrah Prophet and Ruben O'Neill, they'll be the front row for the Chiefs. Jimmy Tupou alongside Kalen Boshier as the number 20, then Xavier Rowe, Josh Jacob and Gideon Rappling slotting in. It's the number 23 for the Brumbies. That is Lachlan Lonergan, Eiley, as well as Fotuaika as the number 18. Luke Shaw, I always call him Luke, but I believe his name's actually Lachlan. I don't know why I call him Luke. I think he's a Man United ex-footballer, isn't he? Oh, Luke Shaw, but Luke Raymer is there as the number 20, which I assume is where the Luke comes from in this case. We've got Harrison Goddard off the bench at 21, Jack Debrinksini, I should say, and Ollie Satsford as the number 23. The last time that these two sides played, it was actually just in the early stages of March, and it was a home game for the Chiefs. They were able to get the win, 49 points to 34, so it was a high-scoring one, although with finals football, you'd expect maybe about 15 points less for both sides in terms of their total. I don't think we're going to see sides getting close to the half-century in this matchup today. We have got there, who do you think is winning tonight? Bulls and Leinster. It's a tricky one because the Bulls have all the capabilities to do well, so do Leinster. Neither side have won a URC final. Leinster haven't even made it to a URC final until now. But, like, the Bulls, they are 2-0, or sorry, 0-2 when it comes to finals of the URC. They lost to Glasgow at home. They lost to Munster at home. But the good news for them here is they're away from home, and that might actually bode quite well for this Vodacom Bulls side. Strong lineup. Missing Honeycomb's a bit of a concern, although they've got Marco van Staden going in. And, of course, this Leinster side, I do think they did some really good stuff last week in their matchup against Glasgow, so it's going to be tough. And hopefully it's close. We have got there, did you hear that TVNZ might have the rights for NPC and Sky, and TVNZ have come to a deal for the NPC, says Kiwi Rob. That'll be handy, because I know that in terms of that grassroots rugby side of thing, as well as provincial, people do love to watch them, and Sky, you know, it is quite an expensive thing to watch at that stage of the year if you only like your rugby. Our odds of the Brumbies making the final are $5 underdogs for the Brumbies in this one. And we have got there, greetings Earthling, says GJ, or JG I should say. Explain to a South African, is this the semi? Where are they playing? Says Albert. I mean, I don't just have to explain it to a South African, we can explain it to everyone. This is the semi-final. The other semi-final was played yesterday. The Crusaders were able to get themselves the win, and they are playing at FMG Stadium in Hamilton, so the Chiefs have the home field advantage, but if they win this game, they'll be heading to Christchurch for the final. Same with the Brumbies, due to the way that the rankings have ended up. Go the Chiefs, huge support from Sri Lanka, says Gayesh there, and go the Chiefs go, says Malika, and what if the Brumbies win? Then they are through to the final as well, and it will be in Christchurch that those two sides play. I think this should be played in Canberra, says Kiwi Rob. So I assume that's because of the fact that the Chiefs lost their playoff game last week. So the way that the Super Rugby competition works, it means that they lose one ranking rather than more than that. So pretty much because they are still top contender, they still get, I guess, that home field advantage for the semi. But I can see what you're saying. But yeah, the Brumbies coming in as the third ranked side meant that they don't quite get the home field advantage here. And we have got there, I love the NPC, says Pat Seven, and we are not too far away from that competition starting up, only about a month or so, I believe it is, or maybe a little bit more than that. Of course, the All Blacks, they are being announced Monday the 23rd. We will be doing a few videos based around that, including our predictions for what Scott Robertson will be going with, which is going to be tough because there are some big decisions that do need to be made. These are the qualifying finals that we saw last week. Crusaders able to get themselves the win over the Reds. The Blues beating the Chiefs. Although now the Blues, unfortunately yesterday, did end up losing that contest. So they are out of the competition. The Brumbies, they were able to beat the Hurricanes, which has got them the spot here in the semi-final, going head-to-head with the favourites. And we have got, will next week be the last game before the main games, says Mohadin. Will next week be the last games before the... I assume by the main games you're talking about the international rugby. Mohadin, you don't have to wait too much longer to see your Box in action. I know you've been asking about them for the past 6 months, but they're almost here. They are almost going to be in action. Maybe I missed that. If it's Chiefs versus Crusaders final, whose home game is it? It will be the Crusaders' home game. And the reason for that is because of the Chiefs losing their playoff game last week. They got the bye, or I guess what you call the lifeline, to stay in the competition, but it meant that they lose their home final rights as they come through as the second-ranked side. So had it been the Blues who won, though, then whoever won between the Brumbies and the Chiefs would have had the home field advantage. We have got there, can you explain to your fans what your plans for the Lions tour? I'm covering it on the channel. I think we've mentioned that many times over, but we're doing all the games on the channel just like we normally would. And we have got there, what place is the Chiefs? The Chiefs come in as the second-ranked side now. They were first, but then they lost their playoff game, which puts them down to second. which is why they are now playing off for a spot in the final, but it will be away from home. Crusaders have their home field advantage. Crusaders all the way, says Aloy. Are we going to see the penalty kicks to decide the winner, says KW Stanley? I don't think so. I think this one could be close, but I don't think it will be that close. What happens if it's a tie? Then they would go to extra time, which is 2 10-minute periods. Then I believe they play for an extra 10 minutes after that, and then they go to the kicking contest like we saw in some of the other competitions. Or in fact, they might even have a deciding factor before that, which I assume would be most wins or something along those lines in terms of the tiebreakers. Crusaders played their final last night. Says Knight Rider, that is correct. They did play in the semi-final, although, I mean, the Crusaders, they're 31 from 31 in playoff rugby, so they probably still have another one in them next week, and the Chiefs or the Brumbies, whoever make it through, will certainly have to play a good game to be able to challenge them. We have got there, go the Brumbies, says Stu's World there, and we have got there, thank guys for the beautiful share, go the Chiefs, and TG4 free view lines versus Argentina next weekend in Ireland, says Patrick, and yeah, it's crazy to know that the British and Irish Lions tour is just around the corner. I believe the Brumbies play them in about 26 days, somewhere around there. So it's a little while till we get to see the Brumbies in action again, unless, of course, they do win this game. Then we get to see them in action next week too. We have their Chiefs mana blah, says Malcolm. And go either team that will beat the Crusaders, and Sky probably losing a ton of customers. And that's what they need to rort remaining customers, says Martin. All Blacks add new coach to Scott Robinson's team. Is Bryn Evans named line-out coach? I have just sent this. Do you know who Bryn Evans is, Hamish, says Kiwi Rob? I certainly do. He had quite an extensive stint at the Highlanders, I believe, when it came to the later stages of his career. Also, was he at the Hurricanes beforehand, or was that his brother? It might have been his brother. Ethan Blackadder was replaced early yesterday. Update on him, was he injured? He wasn't replaced early. He went off the field for a wrongful HIA, which took him off the field for 2 minutes in the second half. He was then put back out there on the field because they realised it was supposed to be Scott Barrett who went off for the HIA, but Blackadder played the 80 minutes, I believe, unless we're watching a different game. We have got there today, 78 minutes because he got taken off for that HIA that he passed easily because he wasn't even hit in the head. And thanks, Hamish, go the Chiefs, says Alocina. And also we have got the ads time, says Colpito. And hey there, H, ready for the game? I'm very excited for this one because the Brumbies, throughout the last, I would say, probably 2 months, to be honest, people have been saying that, yes, they might go far, but they don't feel like the Brumbies will make it to the final. But this lineup that they've got here, like, they've got more than the capabilities. They've got a strong back line. Their kicking game has been on point, and the Chiefs cannot afford to make silly errors in this game. They had a few up against the Blues last week, which they were punished for in the end, not able to finish the job there, but they do have that lifeline. They've got the chance here to go forward and make the most of the extra chance. And Chiefs to win, Hamish, says Peter there. So, of course, do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. They are just showing Rob Valentini. Of course, he will be bringing physicality all throughout this contest, partnered with Rory Scott and Tui Lima in terms of that loose forward trio. And let's go the Chiefs, says Colpito. And Chiefs by a score, says Patrick, and no anchors really, says Pat7. And there as well, and Brumbies play like the Blues, but have the balance of strong forwards without freezing out their back line. Says Knight Rider here. When they get it into that back three of Toole, Muirhead and Wright, there is a lot of speed there. Ikatel in the 13. Also a very handy option. Shocking this is not a sellout, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, it just shows that no matter where you go in the country, it seems like it's very hard to sell tickets when it's only about 6 degrees Celsius. And Brumbies win 64 points to 8. Wow. 64 points to 18. So I'll ask the question, Albert, what has given you that prediction? Is it something that you've seen from the Chiefs? Is it something that you've seen from the Brumbies? Is it some insider knowledge? What is it that makes you think they're going to win this game up against the number 1 ranked Chiefs, or at least they were the number 1 ranked Chiefs, by almost the 50 points? We have the Ahoy Hammy. 14K at Stadium predicted, says Bat7. And also 59 points to 5, says Cool Pito. Is that in favour of the Chiefs or in favour of the Brumbies? It's time, says FRCI. And let's go Brumbies smash the cow, says Aloy. Just having the moment silence before this match does get underway. While we've got this, we will very quickly show you the starting lineups for these two sides yet again for the Chiefs. They have got Ollie Norris, Samisoni Taukiaho and George Dyer as the number 3, Naitoa Akoi alongside Tupavai in the locking duo with Samapeni Finau. Luke Jacobson returns at 7 and Wallace Atiti and as the starting number 8, Cortez Aratama alongside Damian McKenzie in the 19 combo. Quinn Tupai and Daniel Rona in the middle, which is also the return for Quinn Tupai, Leroy Carter, Moni Narawa and Sean Stevenson as the number 15. In terms of the Brumbies lineup, it is James Slipper, Billy Pollard and Alan Alaratoa, who's been on a bit of a try-scoring tear in recent times. Nick Frost and Tom Hooper in the locking duo with Rob Ballatini, Rory Scott and Tui Lima as the number 8, Ryan Lonergan and Noel Alisio as the 19 combo, Philly White in the midfield alongside Len Ikitau, then Toole, Muirhead and Wright as the back 3. And we have got there Morning Hamish from Zimbabwe. Says, Paul, welcome in. And thanks, handsome Hamish. Go to the Chiefs watching from watching from Auckland, I should say, from Alosina. And the commentator, love your commentary, says Kwandile. And also afternoon, Hamish says Daniel Watson and Tupai back, says Wonga. Yeah, massive inclusion, having him and Jacobson back at this stage of the comp. You have to wonder whether or not both of them are 100%. You'd assume that Tupai is after that nasty knockout that he had. But you'd like to think they wouldn't rush Jacobson back in. But at the same time, I think they do need him with the absence of Simon Parker too, who has been a bit of a standout for this Chiefs side. And Nick Berry, he'll be the man in charge of this game. He was refereeing the Brumbies game last week up against the Hurricanes. Also, where's Anton Leonard-Brown? Shoulder injury, out for the season. Unfortunately, did happen about 5 weeks ago. We're taking the Test Championship home today, Hamish. Says Kwandile there. Yes, South Africa really getting themselves in the box seat. Some great batting from Markram as well as Bavuma. Some people who don't follow cricket will have no idea what I'm talking about there. But yeah, Markram, a fantastic batter after his duck in the first innings. Definitely needed some runs and has done just that. Leinster all the balls. Says Mumbo Jumbo. Honestly, it's a pick'em game because the Bulls haven't had the best record away from home, but at the same time, the last 2 finals at home they've lost, so it might actually be a nice welcome change to be playing on the road rather than at Loftus. Right, no Australian team has won a Super Rugby playoff match in New Zealand. 0-18 is what the record sits at the moment. And Blues out of the comp, it's a beautiful day. Says Taiona. Although the Blues, to be fair, valiant challenges. In terms of the last few weeks, I mentioned about it right from the start, that if the Blues made the top 6, no matter where they are, they're going to be tough to beat. And I think that both the Chiefs and the Crusaders found that out, as the Blues did start to come right at the right time, but just couldn't quite get over the line up against the Crusaders. But going to be the start of this game. Already a little bit of a scuffle between Tom Hooper and Tupavai, the 2 number 5s. Giving each other a bit of a push and a shove, but Tom Wright taking this ball on the halfway line for the Brumbies. The big shot coming in from Samapeni Finau. Lonergan. Across there to Rory Scott. Now, they will be looking for a quick start here, the Brumbies. I'm back across to the left. Hamish, apparently some Blues fans were very angry over the referee yesterday that they ended up making a GoFundMe page to demand that the match between Blues and the Crusaders get replayed. But a GoFundMe, who's going to... I assume someone's done that so that they can just get some money, and they probably will, to be fair. But, yeah, I don't think they have many games that they ever have replayed that have been completed. Big run from Ryan Lonergan around the side. Cortez Ratama into the breakdown. He was on the ball, but he misses out just narrowly. Amoni Narawa jumping the gun, but has to get back on side. Valentini tackled by Finau. And what's your score predictions for tonight? I think that both sides are going to get about 15 less points than they did last time that they played. So I could see around a 30-15, something like that. Although I do actually think 30-25, somewhere around there, might be more likely. That's going to be knocked back off the Chiefs. Ollie Norris goes to McKenzie now. Sean Stevenson sinks it downfield with a big boot, looking for the 50-22, but back there to cover was Tom Wright. We'll look for a kick of his own down into the Chiefs 22. That early territory game that we expected is well and truly the forefront for the start of this one. Big clearance from Sean Stevenson. And the Brumbies will get themselves 40 metres out from their own line with the line out. And we have got there no chance of a Blues vs Crusaders rematch. Get real, just saw losers, says John Wilson. And do you bet Hamish? I do not know, because I'm terrible at predictions. So It would just be me donating money to a bet, whatever they're called, a broker or whatever it is. Or bookie, I think is what the terminology also can be said as. Now rolling this one back, Ryan Lonergan. Oh, Tupavai, jumping the gun there as well. Lonergan getting it up high, down towards the halfway line, beautifully taken though from Leroy Carter. Definitely one of those guys that could find himself in the All Blacks environment. Cortez Ratama, cross to the left-hand side now. Tupavai pops it back to McKenzie. All drop ball from Wallace Satiti. That is a rear error from the number 8. A little bit frustrated with that one by the looks of it, Satiti. It will lead to the first scrum of this game being for the Brumbies. What's the weather like? It's relatively cold at this point. It's off already, Clayton, says Kiwi Rob. And we have got there, Chiefs will score the first try, says Quandile. And Dolman better not be ref in the final. Should have been nowhere near a semi-2. Says Knight Rider. Is it because he's from Taronga that you don't like him, or is it just because of his refereeing? Because I know that people were saying he was the hometown referee, but he's actually closer to Auckland than he is Christchurch. And now, ready to feed this ball in. Pack weight's 920 kgs for the Chiefs compared to the 885 kgs of the Brumbies. And Big Knox coming, says Roof. That is a free kick already for this Brumbies side. Hardly even got to engage there. And Chiefs, let's do it. And Dolman will be Ireland next weekend. Here's Kiwi Rob. Looks like Noel Alesio's just decided to kick this one up and under. Down towards that 22. Muir tried to get it, but Leroy Carter again safe under the high ball. Any dew or moist? It's relatively moist. I think the humidity is about 95%. So there'll be a bit of slipperiness out there. And yeah, not very warm. So I think it will take a bit for the fingers to warm up. And let's go. The Chiefs says Brasto and Brumbies will score the first try. And they have thrown that one in. Nicely claimed by this Brumbies line out. Only 4.5 minutes through this contest. Now the big question I still have is whether or not these two sides will take the threes when they are on offer. He's refereeing the British and Irish Lions versus Argentina game. Says Kiwi Rob. And out nicely taken by Leroy Carter. Sean Stevenson passes across to the right-hand side. Damien McKenzie now trying to step through. James Slipper makes the low tackle there. Oh, that was almost a bad knee injury there for Nick Frost. Looked like he was bending weirdly, and there's a little knock on at the back there from Lonergan. I mean that the Chiefs got themselves the scrum right. Frost is all right by the looks of it, but his knees almost got really poorly bent. And I missed the end of yesterday's match. And we have got the Leroy Carter on the road. Those coaches always on their laptops playing PC games. No wonder they lose many times. Should concentrate on match more. So here's Eric. And Kia ora Hamish says Matthew. And if the AB select more Crusaders, Eden Park record will die. More Chiefs, they'll win. Says Knight Rider. And also we have got there, who's going to win? World Test Championship, South Africa or Oz? Well, South Africa are in the box seat. And for them to lose from here would be a monumental mistake. Because, you know, with where they are, with how flat the pitch was playing on day 3, like, unless there's going to be some real demons in it for day 4, they should be able to close it out with only losing maybe 1 or 2 more wickets. But that's a free kick this time going the way of the Chiefs here. And they will be getting ready to kick this one towards touch for Sean Stevenson. Now, because he was inside of the 22, he is able to get that one out. Will be around the halfway line that the Brumbies have got themselves the line out. And 68 runs needed for South Africa, says Glenn. And also, we have got there, has the France team been named yet for the New Zealand tour? I don't believe so. Not that I've heard anyway. I know that a couple sides have announced their squads, including Scotland, Samoa, etc. But I'm not too sure about France yet. Now going back across to the left-hand side. Big run from James Slipper. Moves up to the halfway line. Now kicking this one high will be Noel Alecio. Awesome coverage. Hamish woohoo. Says Alocina. Thank you very much. All that one's going to be claimed by Corey Toole. Thought about the pass on the outside to right. Doesn't quite free up the hands. Getting tackled by Leroy Carter. Those two men spent some time on the 7 circuit together. Valentini driven backwards. Now Len Ekatau with the pick and go. Chiefs defending from about 15 metres out from their own line. Ball pops out the back of the Brumbies. Breakdown. Nolalicio goes across to Filiwai. Tackled by George Dyer. And now we have got their Timo check. Says Kiwi Rob, I think you are ahead, so be sure not to spoil too much, Kiwi Rob. Now Lonergan. Back across there to Tom Hooper. Now Lonergan. Again, we'll go after Alan Alalatoa. Tackled by Daniel Rona. Now Lonergan almost through. That ball's knocked down. And a little knock on there from James Slipper too. So it will now be the scrum feed. Or will it? Looks like Nick Berry is going to be getting some word from one of the other match officials, the TMO. And Kiwi Rob, the France team is not yet named. But they said only 5 Pro 14 players will be named, says Given. And that throw-on was as straight as RuPaul says username. But we are just going to see it here. Oh, a little bit of contact from Tupovai. He is upright. Oh, this isn't going to be a red, is it? I think at most this is a yellow. As he's got the shoulder to the head of Billy Pollard, who was in the process of being tackled. So I think this is probably going to be a yellow card for Tupovai here. Yep, that is the decision that they have made. And it's going to be around the halfway line that the Brumbies do get themselves the penalty and take the 3+ sin bin, Chiefs. Yeah, Tupovai, he's been in form. What probably the most informed, I want to say most informed New Zealand lock, but I know that a lot of people would say that Fabian Holland's right up there too, but still have been doing extremely well throughout this year. Just didn't adjust the height quick enough there for Tupovai. I would be very surprised if this is upgraded. It's a yellow change to a red. Says Aloy, I'm at 9 minutes age, so yeah, you're a whole minute ahead of me, so be sure not to put in too many spoilers. As much as it's going to be difficult for you not to write them, be sure just to wait that little bit longer. And yeah, it was just that deflection off the tackle of Samasoni Tolkiaho that put Pollard in the perfect position for a shoulder from Tupovai. Big day for South Africa. Proteas and the Bulls. Will they choke again or get the big wins? Says Eric. And now going back across to the left-hand side. Chance here for Lynn Ekatel, sitting about 15 metres out from the Chiefs line. They've got the man advantage too, so they have to try and make the most of it. Not Alessio. Now Lonergan goes across there to Tom Hooper. Pick and go, run straight at Naito Akoi and Wallace Satiti. Lonergan going to the right-hand side after being told to use it by Nick Berry. Ekatel shut down by the Chiefs' defence. And difficult call decisions when falling into the shoulder. Says Pat 7. Yeah, I'll be very surprised if it's upgraded to a red. He should be back in about 9 minutes. Lonergan cross now to James Slipper. Now trying their best at the moment, the Brumbies to sneak through. I think that Noel Alesio's actually got a bit of an injury here, maybe to his shoulder. It looked like one of the medics was going over to him in the back play. Still the Brumbies. They haven't really made a meter as of yet. Still sitting that 15 out from the try line. Alan Alatoa pops it up to Tom Wright, bit hesitant to go for his next pass and is wrestled down by Quinn Tupaia. Still on the 22 and still down on his knee is Noel Alessio. They are playing at the moment. Oh, there's a good milking from Ryan Lonergan. He managed to get the penalty for not rolling away going against George Dyer. Which will give them the easy 3 if they want it. But Ekatel goes across to Corey. Toole miss pass. And they'll go back now for another penalty. Isn't Noah leaving for Japan? He is indeed. I love your beautiful coverage. Kiwi lads, woohoo. Says Alosina. And there as well. Let's go the Brumbies all the way. Too narrow, says Bill. And that may have been because of lacking their 10 though. Like with the fact that Noel Alessio was down, I think that maybe they didn't really know what their next plan was going to be. And thoughts on Alatoa, best he's ever played. He's certainly getting a lot of tries lately. He's had 4 from the last 5 games. Looks like Noel Alessio is actually going to go off the field. Now, this is intriguing. They're actually going to take Noel Alessio off for an HIA. But I thought it was a shoulder injury. So that's a bit of an interesting one. Whether or not they've made that call to say that it was a head knock for the sake of having 10 minutes to try and work on that shoulder, or whether we're going to see the replay here, or just maybe a little bit of contact from Tolkiaho as Noel Alessio was about to hit the ground. Now, Billy Pollard ready to throw this one in. This is the Brumbies bread and butter. It's what they have used 49 times throughout this season, but they've dropped that one forward. And the Chiefs, they will now they'll now have the scrum. Noel Alessio, Moni Nuttall thought that he was going to be able to run away with the advantage there. But now, 11 and a half minutes in, and it will be the scrum chance here. Okay, they are just showing that replay of the Tupavai yellow card. And bring back the Brumbies milk jerseys. And yes, you can do it, says Alosina. And when is Lester Whainaunuku coming back? I think it's this year, isn't it, that he is going to be returning to New Zealand. Right, that card will remain as a yellow as well, ladies and gents. And also will be returning next July after a stint with French club Toulon. Now ready to put this scrum in. Is it raining or just the camera? I think it's just the steam of the players because it's quite cold. I don't think there was any rain expected. But yeah, it's just because of when a player breathes, he's having a bit of that, you know, the breath that you can see. It's actually kind of that old school vibe of the scrum when you see all the cloud of, it sounds weird to say, but the cloud of like breath. But now Damian McKenzie going to kick this one down into touch. And yellow will remain yellow, you said it, Amish. Says Kwandile. Now the Brumbies, they will have themselves another line-out. And like I was saying, 49 tries they have been able to get from line-outs this season. Now, not all of those are rolling mauls. Some of them have been from other aspects of their game, such as being able to move it out the back. That looked forward from Corey Toole, right in front of Nick Berry. He says, meh, close enough. And now it is going to be still playing. Now, of course, until there is a stoppage or a turnover, they can still go back to check that one if the Brumbies were to score. Now, a little kick in behind, attempted there from Tom Wright. And Sean Stevenson looking to kick this one back downfield. About 40 metres out from the line now, Tom Wright looking for the cross kick. Leroy Carter trying to cover it. Muir, he's tackled him without the ball. Or has he? I would have said there, because Muirhead did knock it on though, so I think that's where it kind of ends up being a little bit more of a grey area. Kicked him behind, looking for the 50-22, and they will get it, the Brumbies. And now they will have the line out about maybe 10 metres from the line. We see it there, Muirhead just ended up trying to control that ball. And then a great kick from Tom Wright. We talked about their territory game early. We have our adult people in our age still cannot distinguish between a rugby incident, no cards and foul play cards. It's a mystery, spoiling and destroying our sport. Should have been no cards in the Rugby World Cup 2023. Says Eric. Like none at all. So I can think of a couple red cards that were pretty justified, like the flying shoulder to the head that one of the Namibian players threw, but yeah, there's probably a few that you could say were a little bit unlucky, but now rolling maul here for the Brumbies. Once again, the bread and the butter, and they'll go in. And it's Billy Pollard who does score the try. It is the Brumbies' game plan from start to finish. Use the rolling maul as many times as they physically can. Sides just don't seem to be able to defend it. How long till the yellow card finishes? I believe another 4 minutes or so until we do get to see Tupavai make his way back on. And good luck both teams. Moana be dangerous next year with Lowell Mape, says Pete. And also good morning from Ireland, Munster fans supporting the Chiefs, says Nate. Going down over the line for Billy Pollard to score the first of the match. What a disaster. First time McKenzie got the ball, they kick well, says Oswald. Although, was that the McKenzie kick from inside of his own in-goal area that you're talking, Oswald, or a different one? I assume it was another one because there was probably no other option for him in his in-goal area. Ryan Lonergan lining up this kick. He's trying to get the mustache going like Nick White. Perhaps hoping that they accidentally select him rather than White due to that mustache. That kick has gone over 7 points to 0 now in favour of the Brumbies. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again, so we will quickly mute. We are good. But a great start to the match for the Brumbies. Still in another 2 minutes now with that man advantage that they've got. Which I mean in the final, both Sam and Khaleesi was rugby incidents. Okay, so just the final of the Rugby World Cup, you're saying, shouldn't have had red cards, but all the other games of the competition should have. I get you. Now Nick Frost, ducking down there. Well, Summer Penny Finau making the tackle on Nick Frost. Come on, the Chiefs, says FWTG. And let's go Brumbies. Let's get the try again, says Aloy. And great start, Chiefs really struggling to get out of their half, says Studs Race. Yeah, more possession for the Chiefs would be much appreciated, I'm sure, for them. Although they've had a couple handling errors scattered in there. Big run from McKenzie. Can't get through Rob Valentini. Ratima goes across to Summer Penny Finau now. Ratima. Eventually that ball does come out for Ollie Norris. I do think is also a man who could find himself in the All Blacks environment some stage this year. Wallace Satiti, another run. Ratima goes back across to McKenzie, inside ball to Amoni Narua. It's all good, guys. Moana Pacific has a second half team, says Shane. Now, Naitoa Koi. 6 phases and loose ball, and the Brumbies have managed to take this one back. Ryan Lottingham will kick it back downfield. And they do relieve the pressure. One moment, I have to sneeze again, 1 second. We are good, hopefully. But that one has gone into touch from the Brumbies. Good exit from Jack Debrinksini, who has made his way onto the field for Noel Alessio. Mean game for the Blues and Crusaders last night. Yeah, very close between those two sides. 14-14 at half-time. And then, yeah, just the 7 points in the second period of play. Morning Amish, that red card Sam Warburton got us in 2011. Cost us a World Cup final place. 20-minute penalty would have seen us into the final, says Fleshin. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because with the rule change going to 20-minute reds, of course, there are a lot of scenarios across the world of rugby from the past that could have, great take from Quintapai, but yeah, that could have changed outcomes of games had that been the rule back then. Now, nice run from Daniel Rona, almost goes into touch, but just keeps his feet in the field of play. Bit of a counter-ruck there from the Brumbies, but Leroy Carter comes in and clears out about 3. And we'll take a miracle to stop the Chiefs try now, says Jonathan. Yeah, although they've got a bit of a decision to make here. They're down by 7. They are quite close to the sideline with this penalty, 22 metres out from the line, so I think that kicking for the corner might be the choice that they do go for. And Tupavai also has made his way back out onto the field. And go the Chiefs, the Brumbies are going to bring it, says the real Endo. And where are you from, Amish, says FWTG. As in like country or region, because I am from New Zealand, about halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin. Now, thrown in by Samasoni Taukiaho. Now, trying to get this rolling ball going here with Wallace Atiti having the ball in hand. Brumbies trying to get rid of that attacking threat. Now, spin from Quintapai. It's only 7 metres out from the line. Pick and go from Narua. And that was a very sneaky plan from the Chiefs. Narua was ready for the pick and go, and that was very effective. And I'm going to mention something. And that is the fact that we often see Mark Talia and Severis right next to the breakdown. The difference is because Narua doesn't often do that, it meant that the Brumbies weren't ready to defend it. There was a massive gap there. They weren't anticipating that Narua pick and go, and a really smart play from the Chiefs to be able to sneak through and get themselves their first try of the contest. Did they score? They certainly did. Adjes as a sharp attack punished them. And you're from the South Island. Nice. That is correct. Hamish, it seems you sneeze when the opposition leads, says Albert. Who's the opposition in this game, though? And we have got there, nice, says Noros. And also, man, that was a great take, says Bill. And the whole try was Brumbies' fault. Bad D, says Jonathan. Yeah, they just left a massive gap around the side of the breakdown. Damien McKenzie gets the kick over. And that is now going to make the score 7 points to 7. So this game's shaping up a little bit similar in terms of the closeness to what we saw between the Blues and the Crusaders yesterday. And we have got there, yay, Chiefs open account, says Shane. Manarawa scoring himself the try, now going to be kicked off by the Brumbies. Nicely taken by Tupovai, who's met with his opposite number, Tom Hooper, and by the mannequin. Must have seemed like a good idea at the time. The question is, did he also have to buy the mannequin a ticket? And how far could you take that without it getting you in trouble and having to maybe purchase a second seat? Now, nice take for the Chiefs, or at least it has gone back into their favour. Leroy Carter gets round one, gets round a second. Toole trying to drag him down, and in the end, Slipper has to get the job done. Now, Ratima. Oh, pick and go again from Amoni Narawa. It is setting him up big time. How did they fall for the same thing twice? He made an extra 25 metres or so short side. Sean Stevenson just can't quite stay in the field of play, but it's hit the Brumbies, and now it's kicking off. Leroy Carter and Tui Lima, and this one's getting a little bit ugly. Tui Lima getting bent over the barricade by one of the Chiefs players. And this seems like maybe the tensions are running just as hot as yesterday too. And Narawa is still the best winger in New Zealand by a long shot, says Aging Trucker. And Amoni Narawa is on fire. Yeah, a bit of frustration there. Tui Lima having a bit of push and shove between him and Leroy Carter, although I do think that Leroy Carter came in from quite far away, so that might actually end up with the penalty going against the Chiefs for running in. And what are the odds? The odds were still at the start of this game, Brumbies $5 underdogs, Chiefs heavy favourites. And I assume that will still be roughly what it is. Maybe the Brumbies are about $4 underdogs now. I like a little bit of handbags, but we see the run there from Amoni Narawa. We see Quinn Tupaia in the background just trying to get to that short side. Now, that was a brilliant tackle from Corey Toole. Okay, yep, no, I see what it was, right. So, Tui Lima tried to get a bit of a cheap shoulder into Sean Stevenson on the ground after he was in touch. He did miss, but then Leroy Carter ran in. So, I believe that Carter will be the one penalised due to Tui Lima's bad aim. But had he connected with Stevenson, it could have been quite bad for the Brumbies number 8. And come on, Hamish up the Chiefs. Says Kiri there. And read that Canes released Pitu Mangajitsu to go play in Japan. Big loss for the Canes. Says Gerhard. And if the Hurricanes made it to the semi-final, where would this be played? If they had made it to the semi-final to play the Chiefs, they would have still been playing at FMG. A head collision intentionally. Is that a fair card? Says Pete P. If it's intentional, you'd assume that it would be. Now 22 metres out from the line now for the Chiefs. They have got themselves a penalty advantage as well here. Ratima. I'm back across to the left-hand side. Ollie Norris with the pop pass up to Wallace Satiti, who scored the try for the Chiefs. It was Amoni Narawa. He managed to get the first, and another penalty now goes the way of this Chiefs side. This is an easy 3 if they want it. Or do they go aggressive and kick it for the corner? This one, yep, they're taking on the 3. About as easy of a kick as they should have for the day. Tupaia really is a game driver. Makes a huge difference out there, says Shane. Did you hear the news? Well, that's extremely vague, Kiwi Rob. It's quite a bit of news around, but I assume that you will tell us what the news was. Now we have got their boom. Let's go. The Brumbies push it back, and then ding, ringing my bell, says Ruth. Much exciting game. Is that bell a cowbell, Ruth? There's quite a few of those at FMG Stadium at the moment in favour of the Chiefs. Now, ready to line up this one for Damien McKenzie. They have just mentioned about Noah Lalicio failing his HIA test, which does mean that Jack Debrinzini is going to be there as the number 10 for the rest of this game, and that is a big hit for this Brumbies side. That kick has gone over too, so the Chiefs will now be leading by 10 points to 7. And we have got there, sorry, you're cheering on the wrong side. It's the Chiefs you need to be rooting for. And Noah's failed his HIA. He certainly has. There's another one of your specialty spoilers, Kiwi Rob. Now, Quinn Tupaia. I see taking 30 metres out from the line at the moment for this Chiefs side, and rolling it back will be Cortez Ratima. And just got to win by 1 point, says Kiri. Now chasing after this, Amoni Narawa just knocking it on when he went up for the ball. Brumbies now have themselves the knock-on advantage from the halfway line. Tom Hooper trying to get through Ollie Norris. Back across to the right again, Jack Debrinzini. Quick hands there from the Brumbies. Piliwai does well to slap it back, picks it up as well, and decides to have another crack at it. Or he is tackled by Luke Jacobson. and not just for the Brumbies, but the Aussie Lions tour. That is if he gets selected. There's also a chance that they don't actually go for him due to him going overseas. But that's the penalty now. Going the way of Cortez Ratama and the Chiefs. Corey Toole not happy about that one. Let's hope your feeling is wrong tonight, says Heaney. And we have the Chiefs are spreading things up the break down and getting the spoils. And who do you think will win Super Rugby? I mean, it's always going to be tough to beat the Crusaders in a final. Definitely when they're at home. Like, they've never lost a home playoff game. But I'll be honest, like, this Chiefs side, if they can avoid injuries in this game and somehow get themselves a victory over the Brumbies here, I would give them a fair shot of being able to beat the Crusaders. But then they've been there before and it hasn't worked out. Thoughts on the URC final? It will be very interesting because, like I mentioned, the Bulls have lost both of their home finals, but this time they're away from home and they have the potential of becoming the first South African side in the URC to win away from home for a URC final. Whereas Leinster, they have never been in a URC final. So this is very uncharted territory for both of the teams, which could lead to a really intriguing head-to-head. Now, ball's there for Cortez Ratama, goes back across to Damian McKenzie, looking for the cross kick, close to the sideline and a bit too much on that one. Goes over the head of Daniel Rona and will go back for the line out. Says a very strong, says Kwandele. And how is you, says Birasilla? I am doing very well. Hopefully you are too. Of course, we've got the URC final around the corner, taking place in around 8 hours' time. We are going to be live on the channel for that one, as well as, of course, the match is taking place next week. We will get to see the Super Rugby final. And then also will be at the start of the British and Irish Lions tour. Jack Debrinzini, his kick is charged down by the Chiefs. Andy Muir cleaning the ball up. Wallace Atiti making a tackle after slipping. That's an interesting one, because I know that sometimes they say that you've played the guy like when you're on the ground, like player leaving feet. But I guess if you slip and make a tackle after slipping, it is considered fine. It's always been a bit of a grey area, that one. Oh, Naitai Akoi. It's that ball now for the Chiefs, sitting 35 metres out from the line. Ratama goes across to Samasoni Takiaho. McKenzie finds Norris. Will run it straight at Rob Valentini, who holds them to a standing halt. Yeah, they're really being physical with Norris in that breakdown. When it's the Gallagher Premiership Final, used to be in Sky TV. It is at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. Whoever wins this game is going to be a hard final for them. Say this at home is like boss level. Says FWTG. Yeah, it is going to be tough, no matter who it is who makes their way through. But based off this season's form, you'd probably back the Chiefs to do a little bit better, I would say, unless they have good cohesion. They have the home field advantage, and the Bulls took the knock with Cameron Honeycomb reported to be injured. And yeah, it's a serious injury too for Honeycomb. We saw it in that one when he was in the breakdown and Khaleesi hit his knee. It was unfortunate because earlier on in the game, you know, Khaleesi was the one who said, no, it shouldn't be a red card for Honeycomb from the tip tackle on him. But yeah, it will be interesting to see when he is back. I know that they've got a few injury troubles at the moment with Lucanio Arm. Joano Augustus also out with a bit of an injury. Same with Peter Steph-Toy, but they are closer to being back than some of the long-term injuries. Kick downfield now, Jack Debrinzini. Sitting about 5 metres out from the line, Sean Stevenson. One thing that he has been able to use heavily throughout the season is that big kick downfield. You're going to do every game of Lions plus the internationals. I am planning to. Of course, there may be the occasional overlap with international games, but hopefully, we'll be able to do a nice run from McKenzie. Oh, that was almost high from Rory Scott. Nick Berry says it caught him on the shoulder. Ruck is there. Alan Alatoa trying to get the steal, but Cortez Ratama now going off to the left-hand side. Wallace Atiti dropping his head. Okay, Tom Wright trying to say that the ball was out. Nick Berry says it's not out, it's clearly in. He was getting sick of Tom Wright. Now Andy Muirhead takes it on the right-hand side of the field, and a good low tackle made by Leroy Carter again. Lonergan all gives it off to Tom Hooper. Had to do a diving catch of the ball. Jack Debrinzini with the cutout pass finds Rob Valentini, fends and flicks the offload out the back door. Now Len Ikitau, not a lot of space to work with. Let's kick it down the middle of the field. We're winning, says Julius. Oh, sorry, it is Julius, I should say. Oh, Muirhead, that was a weird one. He was sliding forward, or sliding backwards, sorry, and tried to flick the pass. The crowd feel it was a knock on. And the forward pass continue, says username. And show us the game, bro, says Metal God. Unfortunately, that would only last for about 3 seconds before we get the copyright strike. So I would say Sky Sports probably your better bet. And yeah, the penalty goes the way of the Chiefs. And where's the game at? It's at FMG Stadium in Hamilton for this matchup. Andy Muirhead, ball carrier, holding on. Penalty goes against him. And we have got there, what's the criteria for a player to fail an HIA? Pretty much, like, of course, it depends on team to team, but you get all the questions like what day is it, where are you playing, you know, all those type of simple questions that you would expect someone who hasn't taken a head knock to be able to pass. And also just your eyes as well. They can normally tell if you've got a bit of a concussion brewing. They keep a close eye on them. But then as soon as you fail the HIA, you normally do end up out for 2 weeks. We just got 3 points, says Julius. And Flying Fijians will beat the Wallabies next month, says Virasilla. Now Damian McKenzie lining up this shot at the post. 31 minutes into the contest. Taking his time. Making sure he gets this one over from about 35 out. Just sneaks over the left-hand post. So that will be the 3 points added. 13 points to 7 now. I don't agree with the ref on the last call, says Salah. You do Rugby League as well. Not a huge amount. Like we've done State of Origin in the past, as well as the Rugby League World Cup. But I haven't completely decided if I'm doing the State of Origin game 2 next week. Now, good shot on Quintupire by Nick Frost. Now rolling it back. There's a lot of chat going on every breakdown. People saying, sir, please. So I assume that that's trying to get a penalty for both sides. Cortez Ratima kicking it high and goes down towards halfway. Jack Debrinxini waiting underneath it and manages to take it nicely. Now Lonergan. It's back across. Big shot. They just haven't been able to make a huge amount of meters at times here. The Brumbies, they've thrown a lot of passes, but normally dragged down in that same kind of area. Leroy Carter off his feet. Trying to get the steel rush defense from Summer Penny. Fee now stops Rob Valentini early. I'll leave league to Tony, please. And that will be the penalty going the way of the Brumbies. And who got the first try? First try of the whole contest was Billy Pollard of a rolling maul. The Box have the Barbars in 2 weeks. Will you be covering that historic bout in Cape Town, Amish? We certainly will be. And Brumbies need the vodka, says Ruth. That kick. Oh, that one might not. Oh, what a great kick. That one is Leroy Carter frustrated as he feels maybe if he was back a bit further, he could have covered it. But took the risk for Jack Debrinxini and now gets him into a position where that rolling maul will once again be a factor. The Brumbies, they have scored now 50 tries throughout this season off a line-out. I'd like to know how many tries they've scored in total. Surely 50 is a majority of them. Now ready to throw this one in, or at least it sounds like a lot, but I'd assume that they'll probably score closer to the 100 throughout this year. Now waiting for this one patiently at the back, Billy Pollard, just waiting for it to move forward with the maul, and it starts to creep that little bit further towards the try line. Rinse and repeat. No, he's dragged down 1 meter out from the line. Oh, referee was just about to give a penalty for something there, or maybe even was going to give it as a scrum to the Chiefs. And 5 meters now, Tui Lima goes off to Rob Valentini. That was very close to the try line. The Brumbies, who are they going to use? Where's Alan Alalatoe? He has scored 4 tries from the last 5 weeks. Surely he's going to be lurking next to the breakdown. I do see James Slipper. There's also the advantage for a no-arms tackle. That one's been knocked out of the hands. One of the Brumbies players. Seven's told to let it go. That being Luke Jacobson. Now fire back Lonergan. On a cross, kick him behind Jack Debrinxini. Corey Toole puts it down. And they score the try, the Brumbies, off penalty advantage right out in front of the post. And Dibringzini took the risk. Toole gets his 10th of the season. That Brumbies are doing it when it counts. Are you Satan supporter or the Landers? Really neither, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty impartial when it comes to Super Rugby. That's a great finish from Corey Toole. Watched it closely. And way to go, Brumbies, says Aloy. And out there as well. But a great start to the match for this Brumbies side. They now have the opportunity to add the extra 2. Just the 5 minutes remaining in this first half. .48 metres out on the angle for Ryan Lonergan. And good get back, Brumbies. Says Pilla there. It's a challenging kick. Probably the hardest of the day that we have seen in 4 more years, Chiefs. Says Metal God. Why 4 more years rather than, like, next year? Like, is it that they, like, you're just saying straight away they're not going to do well for the next 3 years? Because Super Rugby happens every year rather than every 4, fun fact. And it might be an Aussie-New Zealand final. Says Def there. He's doing a George Gregan reference. Says them in the 11th. And Super Rugby Pacific wins regardless. Says Bela. Oh, that one's going to be knocked back. Now take there from Jack Dibringzini. And Chiefs better win. Says Obi. And quit the choking yapper. Quit the choking yapper, says Heaney. Who's that to? And bump them the Chiefs, says Thomas. But now going off to the left-hand side for McKenzie. Finds Jacobson in the middle of the park up the Chiefs, says Tom. Now McKenzie, short ball off to Wallace Satiti. Now Ratama. He across to the right-hand side. George Dyer. We haven't seen a huge amount of the Chiefs inside of the 22, but when they do get that chance, they have been pretty handy. Oh, that's a knock-on from Jacobson, but they're going back for another penalty advantage. Contact, interference in the air. That's what that penalty is for. No one is going to beat the Satyrs at home. This is a silver medal match, says Fleshin. Did the Brumbies miss the conversion? They did in the end. Just going away to the side for Ryan Lonergan. Looks like the Chiefs are calling for the posts again here. If Leinster lose tonight, that's the end of their coach. Honestly, like, as bad as it sounds, but from what we've heard all throughout the season, for both sides, whoever loses, their coach is gone. Even though both coaches have got their team to the final, people have said if you don't win it, you're sacked. So it's a pretty brutal world out there in the coaching world. But they are, though. I choked against the Blues, now potentially going to choke on this one. Says FWTG. What's that thing the guy's holding on the Chiefs team badge? Where is it? I can't see it at the moment on McKenzie. He is too busy smiling and lining up the post and has got it over. He's going to now make the score sitting 16 points to 12. And we have a pretty close game, Hamish. It is indeed. Hopefully it stays this close throughout the second half as well. What is this, fake news or is someone... It's just rumours. Like, everyone... Like, as soon as a coach loses a game, you get all the people saying to sack them. And then the new coach comes in and they lose a game, so people say to sack them. It's just what's normal in the rugby world, unfortunately. People can be pretty forgetful and fickle. Now lining this one up. Nicely taken on the halfway line by the Brumbies. And Wallace Atiti straight into that breakdown, but cleaned out by Filiwai, who has had to cover quite a bit of ground to get there from the centres. James Slipper now, hugely experienced here. Pick and go from Tui Lima, but the ball's stolen by Summer Penifino. Goes on the outside to Damien McKenzie, tries to step and then instead goes for the grubber. Slipping over was Tom Wright, puts in the fend on Daniel Rona. He does take him down. What is your score prediction, says Skylar? I think we're going to see about a 30-25, somewhere around there between these two. The only thing Chiefs joking on will be the Bears at the end of this, says Yuraf. And the Brumbies defence needs to get going, says Hangarat. That's not backed by Damien McKenzie. Now Rona. We tackle well again, 35 metres out from their line, the Chiefs. Neither side really allowing anyone through. Got what is your score prediction? Still 30 points to 25. We have there, Jake White will not be sacked if the Bulls lose. Yeah, he shouldn't be. Like, that's the thing. He's made it to a final. But all I'm going to say is when you've looked at those Bulls chats, like, we've seen a lot of people calling for his head, even when he was winning games. Like, they won a game close, and someone said, nah, he needs to go because that game should have been won by more points. It's just you can't keep everyone happy somehow. Now Ryan Lonergan. Back across to the right-hand side. James Slipper. Contact again. Who's the ref in this one? It is Nick Berry. Oh, drop ball from Tui Lima. And then a knock-on coming from Summer Benefino as well. Now, it was just before the siren. So I believe this should be the scrum, I believe. We look at there, Leo Cullen is definitely walking a tightrope. Has he actually won anything with the so-called best club team in rugby? And we have got there go Damien McKenzie, says Skylar, and ring the cowbells. Chiefs says Pax there. And also he needs to go, to be brutally honest, I can already see them losing against Leinster, says Harry. It is going to be the scrum now for the Chiefs. They have got a 4-point advantage. But this is where if they can get themselves a penalty, you could lead in the gap by 7. Or if they go aggressive, look towards the corner, maybe you can get that little bit more. Just showing there the grand final. It has been confirmed that it will be the 7:05 p.m. kickoff on Saturday night next week. Taking place between the Crusaders and somebody, which we are still waiting to find out about. It wasn't smart. Brumbies says Hanger at you, dropping the ball just before the halftime break. Now, ball going to be fed in. Cortez Ratama, all early push from the Brumbies, and the penalty does go the way of the Chiefs. I thought Jake did incredible job considering his budget. Plus the amount of early injuries that they had in the season. For them to be finishing where they have, I think is pretty impressive. You're having a laugh. Leinster have had so many bad refereeing decisions against them over the years. It's a disgrace. They are the best team in Europe. You just don't understand it. Says Demon the 11, halftime in real time. Says Novmum there. And I want us to play the Brumbies at home. Otherwise, I see a lot of carnage and penalties coming in the final. Very intense for so many of us. Don't you love it? Says Fossil NZ. Does Damien McKenzie have a girlfriend? I don't really know his relationship status, unfortunately. Are you asking for yourself, Skylar? You're going to ask him maybe whether or not he'll go on a date with you? McKenzie from 46 metres out. And ball's up to now. Has a massive disadvantage. We're not getting money from URC and salary caps, so most are educated. I think that's educated, but we'll go with it. Educated fans. No, Jake does the best he can of what he has, but that kick has gone over from Damien McKenzie, making a halftime score now 19 points to 12. But it's a close one at the moment, split by the 7. And we have there, Tim, mate, no, I'm not. Well, that would certainly get McKenzie in some big trouble then if he said yes to a date. And All Black Damien McKenzie may be dating Georgia O'Sullivan, the daughter of racing royalty. And D-Mac is an American fan. Or is him, sorry, from Charles as an American fan. And also how long it's halftime. Normally about 10 to 12 minutes or so. But yeah, it can sometimes extend as far as 15. But currently the halftime score, just a 7 point separating these two sides. We'll have a quick look at some of the stats. See how it is sitting. But I would say that the Brumbies, they probably are about, well, I was going to say they're about 7 points short of where they'd like to be. They've had some good chances to be able to score. But if the Chiefs can shut out that rolling maul, I'd be a bit concerned for the Brumbies because it just seems like there isn't... Like, they've had times where they've tried attacks outside of that line-out and they just haven't gone anywhere. So I think that's the tricky part. So I have the Scarlets, but I'm not crying over it, says Fleshin. And we have got their Chiefs, what is your profession? And halftime odds, Chiefs $1.06, Brumbies $7. Do you have any animals? I did have a cat, but he's dead. So now I don't have a cat, unfortunately. Meters gained, 208 for the Chiefs there compared to the 130 of the Brumbies. 2 tries for the Brumbies compared to the 1 of the Chiefs, but they have been taking their 3-pointers when available. They have so far been able to knock over, I believe it is the 4. And then in terms of the defensive stats, 103 tackles made by the Chiefs, 9 tackles missed. Brumbies have missed the same amount of tackles, but they've made 54, so not quite the same tackle completion. Coming at about 80% for the Brumbies, whereas for the Chiefs, they're tackling at around that 90%. We have got there, I have 5 animals, says Skylar. That's quite a few, isn't it? In terms of the discipline, 6 penalties in this game going against the Brumbies, 3 going against the Chiefs, and Bodie has a Super Champ title too with the Canes. The way you said that, Hamish, about the cat, says hang a rat, and FYO, your commentary for minutes 80 to 85 during Crusaders Blues was scintillating. Says Studs Race, thank you very much. Scintillating is a very fancy word. I don't think I could spell it without looking at it. And if Australia Rugby had rugby league talent, New Zealand teams would seem like child's play, says Bella. And we have there, come on the Brumbies, says Justin. No, for you, Hamish. That's what it's like anyway, John. We have there, rugby chat, not dating chat, says Pete P. And Chiefs pulling ahead again. Amazing. Come on the Brumbies, discipline, please, says Ruth. Yeah, second half's going to be pivotal for these two sides. These are the benches. Brody McAllister coming off the bench as the number 16 for the Chiefs. Jared Prophet and Ruben O'Neill also find themselves off the reserves. Jimmy Tupou, Kalen Boshier, Xavier Rowe, Josh Jacob, and Gideon Rappling as the number 23 for the Brumbies. Lachlan Lonergan, Ely as the number 17, and Fodawaker as the number 18. Lachlan Shaw and Luke Raymer as the 19 and 20. And then Goddard, Debrink Zini, and Ollie Satsford there as the number 23. So, with that all being said, and that information on the cards, who do we think's going to win this game, ladies and gents? Do let me know. Scoreboard ticking over is the right call. Save your energy for the finish, says Shane. And we have good there. Anyone in Skylar's Live would be number 6 in line if they're lucky, says Hangarat. I assume that's because of all the pets in that regard. And be honest, have you seen enough from DMAC to give him the start in the first test? Depends on who the starting 9 is. Because I do think that the combo that they will work upon, well, in fact, I think there'll be 2 combos. Ratimer and McKenzie and Roygard and Barrett. I think that that will be what the goal is for Scott Robertson. Or maybe he looks to reshuffle it and go Ratimer, Barrett, Roygard and McKenzie or something along those lines. But I think it's all going to be balanced out with those 2. So it depends a little bit. Too close to call now, says Kevin. Come on, Hamish, I don't believe you, says John. Well, you definitely should. And Brumbies going to win last minute, says Loy in there, and I want a full-time draw, says Brusto. And Hamish, are you doing any of the Black Ferns World Cup matches? I am hoping to. So, yeah, I think none of them overlap that I can think of in terms of other competitions. But, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to. I was going to try and convince my mum to do them with me, seeing as we actually did the last World Cup for the Black Ferns together. But because the games will start at really bad hours in the morning, like, it might be quite a hard one to persuade her. Who do you think is better, Damien or Barrett at number 10? Honestly, you could go either way. Like, Barrett, when he's on form, can be one of the best 10s in the world. McKenzie, when he's doing well, can be extremely handy too. And off the kicking tee, you go McKenzie every day of the week over Barrett. But, yeah, it's just very different styles from the 2 of them. I think McKenzie's more of that runner of the ball now compared to Barrett, who does like those little chips, and they can be very effective, like I mentioned. But, yeah, very different in similar ways. For the Toole from Kuala Lumpur, and it is a Chiefs supporter, says a liar there. Well, thank you very much for being here. It is greatly appreciated. Currently, the Chiefs, they are leading by the 3 points. And maybe you have no time with your commentary. That could be the problem. Yeah, I don't leave the house much. That might be it. And start Damien to do this. What he's doing now, Bodie to close it out. My pick, says Shane. And also, has first half finished. It has indeed. 19 points to 12. The 1 try for the Chiefs coming for Amoni Narawa. The 2 tries for the Brumbies from Billy Pollard as well as Corey Toole. Why do you have headphones on? So that I can hear the TMO. That's pretty much the gist of it. So you're leaving out Phil and Christie out of your 35. Fun fact, I only mentioned 2 halfbacks and they will be selecting 3. So, yeah. I'm going Hotham as the third, probably. We have got there, they have a band at halftime, says Nov Mum. And thanks for the beautiful coverage, Hamish. Have a wonderful night. You too, Alocena. We might see you next week for that final. I just want to say your name pronunciation is on 100. Says Duke, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Some of the names, I'll be honest, Feluai was one of those names that just couldn't come off the tongue in the first half of the season. Now I've just worked out, you just say it so quick that no one tells if you can actually pronounce it or not. Just rapid fire syllables and hope for the best. Question, what's the difference between a Super Rugby Australia team and a teabag? A teabag stays in the cup longer, says Laurie. But the Brumbies are in the semi-final. So, that's pretty decent. Hotham is too young. He was already in the All Blacks last year, though, and Scott Robertson likes him. And I feel like it doesn't matter how old a guy is, if the coach is a fan of him, to a certain extent, of course, over the age of 18 for these international guys. But, it's one of those ones that he will have his guys that he wants to see in the future. And I do think that Hotham is one of those guys. I'll moment love it, says Justin. And you can't say Ailaria right. That's true. I've butchered that pronunciation many times. And Brumbies are going to have to focus, says Ruth. And it's still too close to call. Got any pump-up music, Hamish? Oh, I think my streaming software, I can add music. I don't know whether or not you actually want it. What's some good pump-up music? We need something that's going to hit hard, There's a song here, Heavy Hitter. It's one of Isaac's songs. We'll stick that in the background, while we're doing the halftime build. But looking through, of course, whoever wins this game, they will be going head-to-head with none other than the Crusaders in Christchurch next week. They were able to beat the Blues in their game, 21 points to 14, as you can see. Brumbies, they did come in as the $4.80 underdogs. They are $7 underdogs now, heading into the second half. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what does happen. Because 40 minutes is a long time. The last time that these two sides faced off, it was 49 points to 34. That was in the 1st of March round of Super Rugby. So what we're quickly going to do here is we're going to see what the score was at halftime between those two sides and the last time that they did face off. So the last time that they played, that music is quite loud, isn't it? But we'll just turn that off. There we go. The last time that they played at halftime, it was 15-15, which honestly, this one could have been pretty close to that same score. But Chiefs were able to get that a little bit more. We have got there, in case you missed it, Finn Allen broke the record for sixes in a T20 match last night in his innings of 150. He smashed 19 sixes. See, Glenn Woods, yeah, he was certainly smacking the ball all around the park. We have got there, I dislike Joe Wheeler, says Studs Race. And she's got this, says Latu. And hi, everybody, don't forget the URC final later. I hope the Bulls win. So that is taking place at 4 a.m. New Zealand time. And we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. We have got there, hey Hamish, I'm at the game. Great first half. And how have Munster not won this year? Says Gerard, I think Hotham in the women's game is the better player than her brother. So that is Jasmine Felix Hotham. They are talking about URC final at what time? It will be 4 a.m. New Zealand time. So it is a pretty brutal one, but we will be up. We will be covering it. So in about 8 hours time from now is when that one will be taking place. I'm thinking that Mackenzie will make a wrong move at a vital time because he's capable of doing that. Says XL. And so Jordan was doing pick and go and got a try on the fast way. Talia done that and failed, ruining it for the Blues, says Pete P. Yeah, I mean, the Blues, I know that there was a lot of talk about officiating and everything like that, but the way that I look at it, they have 38 phases to cross 5 meters, and they couldn't do that. And, that for me just showed a lack of just awareness of where that Crusaders defence was, as well as just the wrong decision-making. In that moment, you'd expect either a forward to go over or you just shift it, but the problem that they had was Rico Ioane and Mark Talia were both next to the breakdown. So they had no backline to be able to really work with because they were missing 2 of their guys on that right-hand side. At least you're not playing Rage Against the Machine. Will the Colonel be sprinting at halftime? I didn't actually see the Colonel's race. And Hamish can't say Gerhard Stennekamp, says Albert. And also we have got there Oswald Barnes. It wins if you're at the right end of the field. DMAT kicking stat says wrong end. I know All Blacks XP this year, says Kiwi Rob. I take that back, you're a pro, says Albert, and 6 hours of sleep tonight, sheer luxury. I'm probably just not going to sleep up until that game. I think I'll just go for the all-nighter approach. I'll find something to do for those 6 hours. Probably editing, to be fair. I think we're going to be doing our Scott Robertson predicted side in the near future. So that could be something that I do. Can you please smile like Damien? Unfortunately, I don't quite have the Damien McKenzie smile. But yeah, he certainly does it better than myself. Get ready for some for KFC time. And no Colonel here tonight, says Novmum. A difficult question. Who your choice to win tonight? Bulls, Grobler and de Klerk. Can't go wrong. Honestly, like that game between Leinster and the Bulls, I can safely say I have absolutely no idea who's going to win. Because, like I said, like both of them have enough ability to be able to win. But, like, they just, you know, like they both have the capabilities of being champs, but they haven't yet in the URC. What did you have for dinner tonight, Hamish? I will give you guys one guess at what I have for dinner, and I'll give you a hint. You'll never guess it, but you will. Oh, yeah, straight into France, says Kiwi Rob. No, he said that the ABs need a couple of gimme games first up. He didn't say that they do have them. He said that they needed them. Commonly used strategy, Kiwi Rob. And where's your beer, bro? Says Tom. I have gone with the water for this live stream. Although I haven't gone to the water as of yet. The two sides now making their way out into the field. Chips, says Kiwi Rob. Yep, just went with the hot chips. Toasted cheese, says Ruth. Chips and cheese toast. Am I really that basic that I... Yeah, no, I am. I always have that on the weekends. Fish fingers. I'm not quite that fancy, unfortunately. Shoestring fries. I've moved on from the shoestrings. I've gone to crinkle cut now. And yeah, Hamish, can you tell me what time the Bulls game is in South African time? South African time will be 6 p.m. But we are starting our live stream at 5:30 p.m. South African time. And I'm South African. Says Daniel there, welcome in. Chicken Parmigiana, that's a bit fancy. Lamb shank and mash, brother. These are all better ideas than just the hot chips that I had. Mayonnaise, nah. Didn't just have a condiment for my dinner. Bread and water. So they are just talking about that the Noel Alessio failed HIA, which means that he is not going to be back out onto the field. Turncoat, says Jason. No, like shoestrings were good in an air fryer, but since then we've changed air fryer. So instead I cook the crinkle cuts in the oven and they do the job. Hamish is a pro. We should be more like him. In what way, Albert, am I a pro? Like pro at eating chips? I have got it down to a T. Nice take from Tupovai. Oh, that ball's there for the Brumbies. And Len Ekatel has possession right from the get-go. Brumbies knowing that they're down by 7. Needing that early pressure. For the kick down the middle of the field from Jack Debrenzini. Just trying to force this Chiefs side back. Leroy Carter passes across to Sean Stevenson with all the time in the world. And doesn't manage to find touch with it. Fresh fish and chips, G. That would be quite nice, to be fair. I might have to do that tomorrow night. What do you think? Or who do you think will be player of the whole tournament, says the outlier? I think that Artie Savia already got that award, didn't he, in terms of player of the tournament? Or he was the players' player of the tournament. But now Billy Pollard, tackled by Naito Akoi, as well as Norris round the halfway line. Across. Kicking it in behind. Oh, almost ended up cleaning him out, McKenzie, but sits up for Sean Stevenson. You look like Paddy Mayo, YouTuber a bounty hunter. Okay, he's certainly doing a bit more fancier stuff on YouTube than myself, I would say. I haven't really hunted for many bounties as of late. Oh, penalty. Goes the way of the Brumbies. This is 22 metres out. This is going to be a big decision. I think they'll kick for the corner because they've scored so many tries from rolling mauls, as well as lineouts. So Artie soon says Bats, the crowd attendance hasn't been good in the finals. What's it like tonight? Not that great. Probably about 70 to 80% full at FMG. But yeah, just getting in there early was Billy Pollard. In fact, sorry, Rory Scott was the one who got in there. How much longer till halftime is over? It is already into the second half, 42 minutes into this game. Hence the play-by-play. Pro at growing a mustache. I don't think I've quite got the pro status in that, though. Like, I just don't shave it for a while, so it kind of gets bigger. Now, Cortez Ratima rolling this one back, but the Brumbies haven't been able to use the line out to effectiveness this time. And that one will go into touch from Cortez Ratima. And Bros Papier needs a killer of a game this afternoon for the Bulls, says Gerhard. And also, I meant player of the semis in the final. Adi Savia is not there. Okay, so you're saying just the player, are you counting playoffs? Or are you just counting semi-finals? Or are you just counting the final, the outlier? Because, of course, guys who have played in more than one game will have a better chance. Like, you know, there were a few Hurricanes guys who played well, but they've only got one game under their belt. So they won't get as much of a nod. Oh, it's going to be going off to the left-hand side. Quick hands from the Brumbies with Corey Toole on the outside. McKenzie bumped off by Toole. And a fantastic finish in the corner from the Brumbies winger that will now get them back into the game. That is a massive individual effort from Corey Toole. That is that sevens finishing in the corner. Had McKenzie in front of him and just sits him down. Just trying to get the ankle tap was George Dyer, and then McKenzie bumped off Stevens and tried to kick it out of the hands by the looks of it of Corey Toole. Yeah, just got rid of McKenzie. Oh, you know, Stevenson's come in with some knees there. It's actually not the most legal thing to do. Probably lucky they aren't looking at that. Brumbies doing a Hurricanes on the Chiefs. And free running, says Ton. Now the crowd's starting to ring out the cowbells. Bit of booing going on for Ryan Lonergan. Now chance. 11th try of the season for Corey Toole. Lining up this kick, Lonergan. Does just miss away to the left-hand side, much to the crowd's appreciation. 19 points to 17 now. And brilliant Brumbies, says Tom. And oops, they proved me wrong, says Glenn. Yeah, just a brilliant finish. Corey Toole deceptively strong in the one-on-one. That's why D-Mac is a non-starter, because of one missed tackle. McKenzie now is out of the lineup. Now, okay, time is back on. Scoreboard pressure. We'll win this one for the team with nose in front, says Laurie. And where will the final be if the Brumbies win? The final will be in Christchurch if they do end up winning. And no matter who wins this game, they still go to Christchurch for the next game. Now, just saying about the changes here for the Chiefs at the moment. Oh, it's going to be charged down. Very nicely done by Tupavai. And also D-Mac has heart, says Pela. And yeah, for a guy his size, like the fact that he just gets up after getting bumped, like it is one thing that is quite impressive to watch, the way he just keeps on bouncing back. Now this is going to be the advantage going against the Brumbies. Rowe is gone. Says Jonathan, now stepping there from McKenzie, creates the gap, gets it off to Tupaia, who just couldn't quite link up with the next man. But Xavier Rowe going off to the right-hand side, finds Josh Jacobs. So quite a few changes being made for the Chiefs in quick succession. Rowe goes short to Leroy Carter, who breaks through two, offloads to Narawa, and the Chiefs fire back with a try of their own. And Chiefs will win, says Tom. But that is a big moment there for the Chiefs. Be able to pretty much fire straight back after conceding. Crowd are happy with that one and certainly getting louder as this match does progress. That's at 10. To attack a rush D. I like that a big time rugby. Sees Glenn Woods and Tavatana Nawai may have ended many of All Blacks careers. Then according to that logic, says Jason. And here go the Chiefs, says John there, and the cow jumping over the moon. Says Aloy, but the nice pass from McKenzie, who created the initial gap for Tupaia. And then just going to the right-hand side, Leroy Carter finding a way through 2, 3, maybe even 4 defenders before he managed to get the pass away to Amoni Narawa. I chose D-Mac over Barrett any night. Chiefs, what is your profession? Says Bella, and come on the Chiefs, says Skylar. Mighty Chiefs again, take the lead higher. Says Tom there. And we're going to watch the game live. Sky Sport is a great option for it. You've got Stan Sport and also Flow Rugby, I believe, do have this game too. A big run from Wallace Satiti. The Chiefs now looking like they're trying to start rolling. The kick was good too, so it does mean 26 points to 17 as the lead. Quintupaia with a step, and once again manages to break through. Thought about the offload. Bit of a miscommunication there with him and Tupavai. Now Pollard picks it up. Off to, oh no, Narawa not able to take it cleanly, and it will be the knock-on advantage now against him. A nice Chiefy says Blues Nate, and DSTV and South Africa says Goodhart. Back across to the right-hand side, Jack the Brinksini goes to Rory Scott. Oh, who's that? Naitai Akoi, I think it was, trying to get into that breakdown and get a bit of a counter ruck going. Great job, Chiefs. Says Skyland, hold it, Brumbies, says Aloy. Now Lonergan. Back across to Rory Scott, but both sides already playing at a faster tempo in the second half. Akoi can't get the steal again. Brinksini. Oh, two-man tackle on Leonard Katau by Jacobson. And Feen now, Jacobson on the ball and wins the not releasing penalty. A big moment for the Chiefs. I went to Chiefs versus Blues, cold AF, banging the stands to mimic the noise. After our victory, unfortunately, we out now. A prediction for Bulls versus Leinster, says LA Tens. I've really got no idea. Like, we've covered a lot of games of the URC, including both teams' semi-finals last week. But I just can't pick because, like, neither side have won a final. Leinster haven't been in a URC final either. The Bulls have been in 2 at home and lost both. But they've both had great seasons, so it could honestly go either way. Which I feel like is a good thing for a final. And now, back across to the right-hand side here. Another chance for Quintupaia. He's really coming to his own throughout the second half in terms of the amount of metres that he's been able to make. Samapini Fee now. 40 metres out. Xavier Rowe goes across to Damian McKenzie. Dyer joins the breakdown. Josh Shakem across to Luke Jacobson. Looks like he might have a little bit of a cut around his right eye. Kick him behind from Xavier Rowe, curling towards the touchline. That is a fantastic kick from the Chiefs replacement 9. I honestly believe Damian McKenzie plays better for the Chiefs than he does for the All Blacks, kind of opposite of what Ma'anonu was like, says Jason. And also, we're good to go, Chiefs, huge Chiefs fan all the way from J-Bay in South Africa, says Elton. And we have got there, Hamish, if you ever come to Greytown, go to Aperitif. My dad will shout you a beer, says Skylar there. I've never been to Greytown before, but I have to, of course, keep it in mind. Drop ball there, this time from Ollie Norris. Or was it? Was a loose ball. And then, yeah, just trying to grab that ball and not quite able to claim it cleanly. So far, we've seen handling errors 6 against the Chiefs compared to the 3 of the Brumbies. Great to see you, Hamish, says Judy. It's great to have you here for the stream. We've also got the URC final taking place a little bit later on today in about 7.5 hours' time. I believe that one's going to be taking place. My unknown drop kicking a game-winning play. I'd love to see that, says Vets. The Brumbies now have got themselves the feed. 15 metres out from their line. Kicking metres at the moment. Relatively even, and the penalty does go the way of the Brumbies. What's the crowd's capacity? I believe they can hold about 18,000 at FMG, and I think they were expecting about 14. I could be wrong there. Now, ball has gone into touch. Another chance, 40 metres out from the line. It's their own line, the Brumbies, and Chiefs are ringing the crow, ringing the cow, says Aloy, and can't wait for next month's test against France are going to be a massive, huge season for the ABs in 2025. And Ma'anonu playing with Whainānuku in Toulon this weekend. I know he's at Toulon. Is he actually in the lineup this weekend? If so, it will be an interesting midfield combo. Kick downfield, taken at the back from Josh Jacob. Now charging forward. No tackle made on him by replacement 17. Now McKenzie, the pressure on him. He gets the kick away. Amoni Narua waiting for Dibringzini to get it up. Ball back there for the Brumbies too. It seems like at the moment we had that quick fire start to the half, and now both sides are a little bit more, I guess, strategic in terms of what they're doing. They're not going for anything too elusive. Trying to keep it relatively straightforward. Kick down the middle of the field. Josh Jacob now. Chiefs with the 9-point lead. McKenzie now running in open space. Tries to step. A great low tackle made on him by Tom Wright. Counter right coming from the Brumbies. Unsuccessful. Although now getting another crack at it. This looks like the Brumbies. Yes, they have got the steal. Tapia told to get out of it. And no one replaces D-Mac and Barrett. There's no real bolter. Says Shane in the new stadium in Christchurch. Looks good. Cross kick attempted there. Corey Toole does miss it as well as Fee now. And it does roll into touch on the far side of the field. The semi ain't as good as last night, says Vito Skux. Come on, the Brumbies turn it over. And ready for next year's competition, says Ronnie, for that upcoming stadium. All 50-22 attempted there by the Chiefs after taking that one quickly. Ibrazzini kicking it downfield, looking for a 50-22 of his own, but it does go straight to McKenzie, who signals to go with the up and under. Jacob chasing after it. Pollardi's been taken off the field. Pull on again. Knock on from Tom Wright. Goes into the hands of Daniel Rona. Now 22 metres out from the line. Xavier Rowe trying the step. Little grubber there from Jacobson. Oh, have they called that as a knock on? No, it's going to be a penalty anyway to the Chiefs for offside, so they should be able to just claim the extra 3 points. That looked pretty close to Jacobson being able to get that grubber in behind the line. Looks like now the Chiefs are signalling for the 3 points again here. Seemed like a good option. 8 penalties against the Brumbies. That's starting to add up. See it there, Rona. The big shove to try and get rid of Corey Toole. We'll see the replay here. Did he drop it cold? Oh. Tell you what, yes, it was dropped, but he did it pretty smoothly in the way that it looked like it was still a kick attempt type thing. Could have been quite an intriguing foot race. Are you going to do the Lions match next Friday? We certainly are. How many minutes to go? Still another 25 minutes left in this contest. And Jacob, a future All Black, reckon he has more potential than Ravez Rehana. Says barefoot. It'll be interesting to see what way they do go with those two youngsters. Because I feel like there's also, you've got, what's his face? Is it Godfrey for the Hurricanes, who's another young guy? Harry Godfrey, I think it is, who's been playing a bit of 10, or at least he was before he was injured. Is that the right guy, or have I got the fullback and the young 10 mixed up? Oh, bit of an awkward kickoff there. Tupavai controls it with his chest like he's playing football. I'm going to the All Blacks vs South Africa game in Wellington. That will be a very awesome game. The Chiefs have possession now just outside of their 22. Back in the pocket, McKenzie waiting for it. Sends it downfield. There's been a few handling errors from the back for the Brumbies in this half, but this time Tom Wright handles it nicely. Looking for the kick down the middle of the field. That one's gone a little bit too hard, but it's pulled up in the in-goal area. Now, kicking downfield, it will be Damian McKenzie. Looks like there are about to be a few changes being made. Looks like 2 to be exact for the Chiefs. Oh, no, there is another one. Jared Prophet was a little bit further back. So he will now make his way onto the field alongside Ruben O'Neill and Brodie McAllister. The 3 heading out there to replace the front row. I'll see you later for the Leinster match later. So he's got it, so we will see a little bit later on. And Ruben Love has the most chance of any Hurricanes were decent when he run the cutter. Says Shane. Now, throw here for Lachlan Lonergan. A moment, I got to check the Discord. It's the cat from Novmum there. Aren't you at the game, Novmum? Out of curiosity, I thought you were possibly sending a picture of the field rather than a cat. But a kick in behind from Xavier Rowe. Nice take from Corey Toole watching the bounce. And what is the time, says Vane, in the game? It is currently 56.5 minutes through. Filiwai, little bit of a slip there and looked like it might have been a full pass, but picked up now by Profit. Tries to go through, gets it off to McAllister. So the forward replacements linking up for the Chiefs. I can even Mr. Hamish doing extremely well in this cold conditions. All good, mate, here. Says docking another penalty going against the Brumbies. How much wood, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood from Jason there? A lot, I would think. ASI, my husband said it to me on Discord. Says Nov Mum there. And bad refereeing, says aging trucker. And it looks like now, once again, the Chiefs are going to be able to opt for those 3 points. Nick Berry's had his shoe come off. So he's trying to get that boot back on. And we have got their game speeding up, Chiefs here. And taking a 15 points here as Highlanders fan. And yeah, that extra 3 points could be absolutely crucial. McKenzie has been kicking well. Don't believe he's missed one as of yet. Andy Muirhead, though, he was very frustrated about that one. Oh. Okay, Cortez Ratama has passed his HIA. Sean Stevenson has failed his. So Stevenson will not be playing next week if the Chiefs are able to win this game. That is a massive one for them. Two New Zealand teams in the final. There's Soa Juna, but a great kick again from McKenzie, making the score now 32 points to 17. And come on, the Chiefs, says Carabello, and South Africa can have the cricket today. But not beating the All Blacks at home, says Ronnie. And bad discipline is killing the Brumbies, says Hangarat. Now again, the Chiefs, they have got the ball, but that is a big factor heading into next week. No Sean Stevenson, with him failing his HIA here. Be quite the concern. Cortez Ratama looks like he has passed his, but he's got a lot of strapping on his head. Avies Blood and Noobs against the French, says Fat 7. As a final next week, it is indeed. Yep, 7:05 p.m. on Saturday, New Zealand time. When that one has taken place, kick down the middle of the field, nicely taken again. Back Tom Wright. On to the left-hand side, trying to find a way through, but Tupaia stops him straight away. Another good tackle made. Oh, looking for the steal. Brody McAllister does manage to get it. Now McKenzie. Across to the left-hand side again. Now stepping Ronna. Driven down. And Brumbies needing 2 converted tries. 2 converted tries and something to be able to win. What do they do in that HIA? They ask them a few questions. They check your eyes. They kind of check whether or not you are, I guess, all there. And then if they aren't, then they do fail. That's a big kick there. All nicely controlled, though, at the back from Damien McKenzie, keeping the ball alive. Moving into now the final quarter. Tries the little chip. Lonergan was ready for it, though, and cuts it off. Tom Wright looking for a 50-22 attempt again, or at least just playing that territory game, getting it deep into the Chiefs' half. And yes, let's go. The Chiefs, says Yanu. And better not sleep on the Brumbies late game, Chiefs, says Death. And come on, the Brumbies, says Brusto. And there too. We're going to see the replay here of Damien McKenzie. Oh. Tell you what, that was pretty close to his foot being in touch. No, Stevenson is a big blow for next week's chances if they make it, says Shane. Yeah, just that long boot alone is something that they definitely needed when matching up with Will Jordan. The question is, do they drop McKenzie to 15 in that case next week and have Jacob as the 10? Because they have tried that before, and at times it's worked, but there was another game when they were under a bit more pressure that it was one of the worst Chief performances that we saw. Now, nice work from Piriwai. Let's have the ball available now for the Brumbies around the halfway line. A lot of this game being played now around that 50-metre mark. Goodbye, Brumbies. See you in 2026, says Pele. Now, Leonard Cattell. Tackled low by McKenzie. Lonergan goes back across, short ball. Finds Tom Hooper. Now back across to Corey Toole. He's already got 2 tries, but he's dropped the ball there. McAllister off to Fee now. He's going to go for a kick in behind. In fact, it would be a 50-22, but the ball bounces back inland. And off the side of the boot, Andy Muirhead has to get rid. He's frustrated by the looks of it, not just with that kick, but just what's been happening in the last little while. Nanai Satoro in for shooter. Says barefoot there. And how long now, says Skylar? Still another 19-ish minutes. It's like another change. Ollie Satsford, he will make his way onto the field, and Alan Alatoa will make his way off. Anything can happen in 20 minutes, says Heaney. Says that Sean's last game in New Zealand tonight being out. I believe so, yeah. Unless there's some sort of situation that they decide, even though he failed his HIA, he doesn't have a concussion. I know that happens sometimes. But, yeah, it's definitely not ideal for the Chiefs. Thrown over the top to McKenzie, running onto it. Leroy Carter, great pass to Quinn Tupai. I tell you what, that is a dream combo at the moment here. I think maybe a bit of an injury there for Daniel Rona. Limping back to his outside centre role. Shouldn't be a Simbin. But he called at this point, but you never know. There's Jonathan and awesome Quinn. Good to see him back. Yeah, he's made a real impact throughout this game. They've taken Wallace Satiti off. Now, I assume that is just down to wanting him fresh for next week. Nice steal from Luke Raymer in the breakdown. Lonergan. Which way is he going to go? He does look left, but instead does decide to go for the box kick downfield instead. He's got some good distance on it. Josh Jacob cleans it up at the back as Andy Muirhead in front of him, who makes the one-on-one tackle. Offload to Leroy Carter, who finds Narawa. For the chip in behind now. A good take from Tom Wright. Oh, terrible pass though. Doesn't find DeBrinzini. Finds Corey Toole instead. DeBrinzini offloads to Sapsford, but it's a forward pass. It was really not smooth from the Brumbies, all in all. Crusaders and Chiefs probably the best two teams in the competition, says Gerhard. And Quinton Proctor, Enrico out or bench, says Laurie. And the Brumbies are not providing support after the breakaways. And would they consider playing Damien at 13 next week? No chance. They would definitely want him at either 10 or 15. There are a couple guys that could find themselves in that midfield combo, though. There was one point where Nuttlewood was playing 13 for his Bay of Plenty side, so who knows? Maybe if Verona was out, although it does look like he's going to be all right now to be able to continue, as the Chiefs Stadium forward is not about 75 to 80% full, I'd say, for this matchup. I bet you can't say Irish. I can't even say Irish. That was a terrible start. Irish wristwatch fast. Does fast count as it, or is it just Irish wristwatch? It's a bit more of a tongue twister than the woodchucking one. In fact, Lady doing a warm-up, says John Jones. John Jones. I don't know why I just thought of the UFC straight away, probably because of John Jones and that too, but different spelling, of course. If the Chiefs win, where will the final take place? The final will be in Christchurch. Because of the Chiefs losing their quarter-final, but it was the playoff final taking place in the round of 6, it meant that they gave up the right to host the final unless the Crusaders lost. Now, Cortez Ratama going to be feeding this ball in to the scrum. Big push coming from the Chiefs, and the penalty advantage now in their favour. McKenzie, short ball, that was close to forward. They will go back now for another penalty. This is either the chance to take another 3 or you go for the corner. Christchurch says Ronnie at Christchurch says Vicky and Narawa going to get snubbed again by the ABs. Both Chiefs wings need to be in there, says Barefoot. And this rev needs to go back to the books, says Hangarette. Right, McKenzie kicking it into touch. About 10 metres out from the line now. And we have got their red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. Says I Lollipop, and Stevenson might as well piss off now then. Says Sun Keith. Yeah, they are showing him there not passing the HIA. Person next to Sean Stevenson looked far too young to be on the bench. I'm not too sure who that was. We've only had 3 different teams in 4 straight finals. Gets boring. Says Spink. And try saying Malcolm Markle mustn't meet Macy Mesa. Is that how you'd say the last name of that? And now Luke Jacobson back across to Xavier Rowe. McKenzie, short ball to Jacob, who goes underneath the Brumbies defender. And that should just about be enough for the Chiefs to get the victory. 37 points to 17. Still an important kick to come, but that would give them a 22-point lead with only about 17 minutes to go. But the space opening up on the outside, McKenzie, he could have gone himself, but instead Gave it off to Jacob. Worst thing I've seen the Chiefs was versus the Blues. Never watched a full Super Rugby game until that game in a garbage full of Chiefs flags with the boys. One guy smashed his windscreen. Says Mr. All-In. And see what happens when you run the ball, says Oswald, and that's the game, says I Lollipop. And Leicester versus Ball's going to be a cracker, but I think the home team will bag a win by 8. Says Andre in there too. And of course, we are going to be covering that game on the channel. We will be doing quite a big build-up for that contest too. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here. Kick now being lined up by Damian McKenzie. And does miss. Hasn't missed too many of them throughout today, but does end up getting that one wrong. We'll be a bit disappointed about that one, I would think. One moment, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. Right. Getting this one off now. Oh, nicely taken by Tom Wright. And now open space. This is a chance for the Brumbies. He will run it in himself. Oh! I don't know if he got that ball down. I think they'll have to check this. I think McKenzie may have somehow stopped Tom Wright from forcing that ball down. They're going to check it. On-field will be try. But unless Tom Wright got that down right at the start, McKenzie's got his hands underneath it. Right, we're going to wait for the grounding, McKenzie. Checking the grounding. That ball is up in the air. Still up. Still up. It's on top of McKenzie's hand. That is one of the best defensive tackle / just ways of keeping it from being grounding that you will ever see. He slid about 5 meters inside of the in-goal area and never got the ball down. Now it's going to be a 22 dropout as it was taken into the area by the Brumbies. But that is phenomenal work from Damian McKenzie to not have given up and just gets their hand under it perfectly and never allowed Tom Wright to put that ball down. The myth of McKenzie continues, says John Jones, and Super Hobbit DMAC Player of the Year. And Brumbies' hopes just got slimmer. See, if they had scored that one, they were right back in it. But now they have to do it 3 times. And save of the year, says Mr. Gosling. Yeah, that was very impressive from McKenzie. Now going back across to the right-hand side, Corey Toole. One of the best try savers from Damian McKenzie, says Carlos there. That will make your Whiffin Waffin go wolf wolf. Till you can't wee say that after a few beers / water, says Fire. I can hardly say it once. Oh, that one's going to go into touch though. Nick Frost knocking it on. And the Chiefs now have got the option of either the scrum or the line out. Into a Rugby 25 match of the final. Says Highlanders fan and phenomenal save Chiefs, and you can't beat that go. The Chiefs says a real ando. Brumbies make like rock off. Yeah, just dropping that ball there, Nick Frost. Looked like he was grimacing as he was going down. Possibility of Stevenson being eligible for final despite HIA if recovered. If he doesn't have a concussion, he should be able to play. Because we've seen it before how guys fail the HIA but then do come back. But he didn't look like he was 100% aware of what was going on the sideline. So I do think if he's got that concussion, he's gone and won't be able to play. Mackenzie Magic, says John Wilson. Now will be the scrum feed for the Chiefs currently with 13 minutes remaining on the clock. McKenzie is well known for getting his hand on it, says Jason. Chiefs is doing well, says Mohadin. Where's the grand final being played if the Chiefs win tonight? They'll be playing in Christchurch. The Chiefs came in as number 1 qualifier for the playoffs, but because they lost to the Blues, they kept the lifeline of going on to the semis, but they lose that home field advantage. We have got there, those cowbells are ringing loud, says Ulu. There'll be another penalty advantage now in favour of the Chiefs. They are sitting about 20 metres out from their line, and Josh Jacob had the ball. They will go back now for the original penalty. As Damian McKenzie scored a try tonight, which he is not, but he got a try assist only moments ago. And also saved a try, but then also did have a tackle that he missed that led to a try. So he's had a mixture, but I'd say he's done more right than wrong throughout this game, Damian McKenzie. Let's go the Chiefs, says Tim Hoy. And Buller, says Anthony, welcome in.
Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back for the final. Taking place 7:05 p.m. Saturday next week. He's not a one-trick pony. He's Fat 7. G should be at home final rip-off. Not really, though, because if you consider the fact that if it wasn't for the lifeline, they would not be in the semi-finals. I think that they'd just be happy to be in the final. Because if it was like any other competition around the world in terms of rugby, if they had lost their game up against the Blues like they did, they'd be out, and they wouldn't have even got a chance to be able to still play in the final. Thank goodness Australia should lose the Test final. So here's Highlanders fan now kicking this one high and across the field, nicely taken by Tom Wright. So the Chiefs have been able to hold him up, though, and that becomes a maul. Oh. Okay, it's from a kick. So it does mean that he isn't actually able to be held up without them getting the possession back. Chiefs can beat Crusaders in Christchurch anyway. So here's Heaney there. And 2 New Zealand teams in the final. Crusaders all the way, Hamish. How many metres out was Damien McKenzie from that last kick? Only about probably 30, I think it was. And Bullis says, Prince, welcome in. Now the 10 minutes remaining. I think Clayton McMillan will feel confident. The side have done enough to get the victory. Still the 20-point lead. Gideon Rampling makes his way onto the field. The question is, who is that going to be for? I'd assume that it's got to be for Quinn Tupaia. Not because of how he's played, but because you want him to be playing next week. And DMAC player of the day, a converted try per 3 minutes. Highly unlikely, but credit to the Brumbies. They've had a pretty good season. Go the Chiefs. Says John. We have there. This comp is going to die if only New Zealand teams win it, says Justin. At least the Aussies made it this far in the comp, says he. That is true. The Brumbies have put in a very decent season. They've been able to beat the Blues at Eden Park, which I think was probably their most notable win of the year. Also winning that semi-final up against the Canes after losing to them in the regular season. They beat the Highlanders down south and managed to beat the Drua in Fiji. They've had some good accolades throughout this year. And how much time, says Latu? Now just the 9 minutes left in this matchup. And hi, everyone, says Casey and Tolson. Welcome in. Leroy Carter breaks through another tackle. He's got to be up there for a man of the match contender alongside Amoni Narawa. Luke Jacobson goes back to McKenzie. Just manages to slip around the Brumbies defence. Puts a grubber on the outside. And Gideon Rampling maybe a little bit too casual with that one. Took too long in the Brumbies. Managing to get that one back. And Buller, says Vane. Now McKenzie on the halfway line. Goes across to Quinn Tupaia. One more pass to Summer Penny Finau. Will back himself down the wing. Offload on the inside to Rose. Knocked it on as he hit the turf. And now it will be the Brumbies scrum. Do you know who's hosting the grand final? It is the Crusaders. Oh, careful Finau. Luke Kramer gave him a shove and Finau was about to get back up to his feet. He has to control the aggression or else he's going to get himself suspended. Not get to play next week. They're still having a bit of a chat, but that's the tension and the frustration for the Brumbies in this game. Carter and Narawa for the AB's wings. I think that both of them have fully at least put their names in the hat. I don't know what Robertson's going to be doing in terms of his selection, but I would be surprised if we don't see both of them in there. And when was the last time that an Aussie side won? It's been a little while. They won Super Rugby AU. But now, crowd well and truly behind their team. Crusaders at home is a tough ask, especially in the cold. Now, Aussie already one eye on the line, says Shane. Who's your favourite Super Rugby team, Hamish? I like all of them, yeah. So it was just a push there from Luke Raymer, bit of frustration. Summer Penny Finau was definitely not going to be taking a push without trying to get one back. Shame the stadium ain't full. Let's hope it is. In Christchurch, supposed to be cold, but no rain for the next 10 days. Two best teams should give us a great game, says Francis. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the ticket prices look like. I know that each time that the Crusaders play in a playoff game at home, they up the price by about an extra $10. So I think they'll be charging about $100 for the bigger tickets, which is just pretty much sitting in the middle of the field. Probably about $60 for the cheaper ones. Great commentary, Hamish, says Chris. Thank you very much. And Chiefs all the way, says Akineta. Harrison Goddard put the ball in for the Brumbies. They've just been in the wrong part of the field for a majority of this half as Lolesio not playing. He was, but then he failed his HIA. So he went off in that first half. We have got, Hamish, can you perhaps do a video on the makeup if the Barbars team are due to face the Box on the makeup? if the Barbars team due to face? So as in like the Barbars team or the Springbok side in terms of the video? Which stadium is the Crusaders Chiefs Grand Final? It is a Crusaders home game for those two sides playing off. Quinn Tupaia now popping it off to Luke Jacobson. Now Xavier Rowe thought about the short ball. Finds Tupaia, who actually has been pretty quiet in this game in terms of open play. Nick Berry almost slips over. He's managed to regain. Josh Jacob regaining that one. Then just end up knocking the ball on. That's probably why the Brumbies lost. Says Red 7. And also both would be nice, says Gerhard. So yeah, we will be doing the lineup announcements when they are done. I think that the Box are going to do an updated squad in the next week or next week or so. I'd say they'll end up kind of cramping it down. But I did a video the other day in terms of a inexperienced Springbok squad or a Springbok side with less than 100 caps, which was a little bit of a different concept. Excuse me, Hamish, I was writing about Carl Jung. Now I'm back to listen to your dulcet tones. And time left, says Dean. Currently 6 minutes left in this one. And can't complain when the two best teams make the final. But there comes a time where it's the same teams making the final every year. It becomes very stale. Says Super Rugby Pacific D-Mac. Now, Goddard goes across to Tom Wright. Big shot. Coming in from Kalen Boshi, who's trying to get out of the side of the Brumbies breakdown for the Waker. Now tackle, we have got the AB spoiled for choice. Should be some good international fixtures. Yeah, the first one taking place early July up against the French. We will be covering that one on the channel alongside a lot of the other internationals. Blues is the best, says Ryan. Now, 5 minutes remaining. Goddard goes back to Debning Zini, put in the chip him high. Tom Wright, he might have been foot trip there. Yes, he was. Well, if that's a foot trip, could be a yellow card. We saw Ricky Riccatelli get one not too long ago. I think they are just saying it might have been a push instead, though. And what is the time at the moment? 75 minutes gone in this match. And we'll go up to where the kick did make it to. How's your evening been so far? Hamish says, Carlos, been good. We've got a URC final in about 7 hours time that we will be covering. And one not finding touch for the Brumbies. Damien McKenzie does just about get that one into touch. Yes, he does. Great kick from the Chiefs 10. That same as any SRP D-Mac. As always, same winners and contenders in any final, says Heaney. Just showing it there. Crusaders versus Chiefs. Wow. That's an interesting one. Like, normally they wouldn't show that until after the game, but they are showing right now with 4 minutes remaining. They're giving the Brumbies no chance of getting back into this one. And of course, that is because there's only 4 minutes remaining. But you just never know, do you? Chiefs could disappear for the next 4 minutes and find themselves in some trouble. But more than likely, what's going to happen is maybe one more try in favour of the home team. Rating between both team play 1 to 10. I'd say that the Chiefs have been a solid about, you've got to give them at least an 8. Maybe even a 9 for the way that they've played in this game. Their defence has been strong. It hasn't really allowed the Brumbies to make a lot of metres. Their attack, in terms of that backline, has been extraordinary. The Brumbies, they've been about a 5. They've been a bit lacklustre at times. They've still done some good stuff out there, but just not enough to be able to win this game. Up against the Chiefs, Josh Jacob fires it across to Damien McKenzie. 3.5 minutes remaining now. Passes back across to Leroy Carter. That man will keep on running till the full-time whistle. Passes it up to Xavier Rowe. I don't watch URC, but it seems interesting. URC will have its 4th different champion in 4 years. Although, if you look through it, who's been at the top of the rankings for those 4 years, you'll see the same sides. It's just the fact that they keep on losing in the playoff games. Here's some irony. I quit my Sky streaming subscription because of cost. Then I went and bought 3 packs of luxury sliced pink salmon. But I knew I'd get value from the pink salmon, says Martin. And Chiefs and Crusaders final. Says the Blues Nate there too. That one's going to be overthrown. Oh, that's an ugly collision there. Looks like Luke Raymer might have taken a knock on his elbow. Kalen Boshi apologising for it. Is it going to be just called as a playing the man on the ground? This is the best performance from the Chiefs, says Carlos. And we have got there Ryan McLeod. It's an ugly collision. Both men going for the ball, except one of them arrived a lot earlier than the other. Just the 90 seconds remaining now in this fixture between the teams. The Chiefs, they've booked themselves a spot down to Christchurch where they will go head-to-head with the Crusaders. That one's going to be a challenge. 31 from 31. The Crusaders sit for finals rugby in Christchurch. But can the Chiefs, side that they've faced in Super Rugby Aotearoa, side that they've faced in Super Rugby, can they turn it around, get themselves the win? And how many points has D-Mac got tonight? He's had a fair few. He hasn't scored any tries, but he's probably at about, I'd say 20, or not quite 20, probably 17 points or so. Where is it played? It will be in Christchurch. That game does take place. And thanks for this channel. Love it. Keep it up, says Fonzie. Thank you very much. Oh, nice ball. Tom Wright now finds another gap. Puts the ball in behind. It's going to be a foot race for Satsford, but that one just drifting towards the sideline. Oh, Carter's holding his back, or kind of his upper hip on the back, I think. It's a bit of a concern for that man. Maybe just jolting it a bit. The last thing that they want is for him to be out with an injury heading into next week. And Crusaders versus question mark next week. Well, with 1 minute remaining and 20 points difference, I think it's safe to say that the Chiefs have got this one. Now, Xavier Rowe goes off to Kalen Boshi, a chop down and a good tackle by Fotuaika. 35 seconds left. McKenzie kick this one towards the touchline. Will the Crusaders defence be the difference next week? Well, it's a tricky one because both sides have had some strong defensive plays throughout this weekend. The Chiefs have scored quite a few points when they've been able to capitalise on the gaps, and the Crusaders, now every once in a while they threw that little bit of Crusaders flair in up against the Blues, but going to the front there for the Brumbies, that's a forward pass. And now with 7 seconds remaining, just the one more scrum. Last time I remember, total surprise player named in the All Blacks. It would probably be Dallas McLeod, says Jason. See, I'd say that it was probably, oh no, they actually kicked that one into touch there for the Chiefs. So that will be the end of the game. I thought it was a knock on, but I guess there was still enough time. Maybe it was a penalty instead. And the Crusaders win another title at home, says Kiwi Rob. Damien McKenzie, number 10 or 15 tonight. He was 10 tonight, but with the injury of Sean Stevenson, perhaps we will see him have to shift next week, or maybe they go with Tino Nana Satoro and that number 15 jersey, perhaps Narawa transitions, but it could have really big implications on that Chiefs backline if they're going for Fiola switch, or no one's seen that coming by the experts' comments. I actually think Pasili Otosi was a bigger surprise last year than Dallas McLeod. We have got the Chiefs grand final. Here we come, says Heaney. What game next? Says Ange. So the next game that we are doing will be taking place at 4 a.m. New Zealand time, and that is the URC final between Leinster and the Bulls. So we will be live for that one. We've got 30 minutes of build-up for that contest too. And thanks for making the best rugby game live streams, Hamish, says Carlos. Thank you very much for being here. Chiefs versus Crusaders will likely boil down to which side can keep their discipline better. Dublin seems to be hit by heavy rain at the moment, but the thunder and lightning look like it's staying to the north. And also, W commentary, thanks, Hamish, you're the man, says Riordan. But for anyone who's not watching that URC final, the next time that we will be live will be next weekend for the British and Irish Lions versus Argentina match alongside the Super Rugby Pacific final. Also tomorrow, I believe, is when we are going to be doing the matchup between, or sorry, not the match, but we will be doing a video, or maybe the day after, of our Scott Robertson predicted All Blacks squad. I see you at 6 p.m. South African time in Dublin, Hamish, says Gerhard. And there as well, we're cashing in, Hamish, because we predicted the Super Rugby finals this year, says Blues Nate. Yeah, as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.